Steve, what I've been saying in this market is if Nebraska is going to get back to being a top 10 program like a Notre Dame, they have to start getting all Big Ten players again, all conference players again, all Americans even. You don't see them here. What can Nebraska get back into that realm? Do you see that? Can that happen with Matt Rhule? We haven't seen it for a while.
Well, you just saw Missouri finish in the top 10 and beat Ohio State in a New Year's Six bowl game. And they've done a nice job in the portal and nice job on the trail. And they're off to a good start this cycle. And you say, why can't Nebraska be a top 10 program if Missouri can't be a top 10 program? And I know the ambition is more than that, but you got to start somewhere, right? And so I think absolutely Nebraska is a place that can get back to it. You just need the right coach. And I'll just say this, like, you have Michigan fans or you have Michigan folks or Michigan reporters, all of the above will ask me, now that Michigan has won the national championship, do you think that they can recruit at a higher clip? And I love that people follow recruiting rankings and all of that, but I'm like, what do you mean recruit at a higher clip? They just won the damn national championship. Like, they obviously recruited at a championship clip. We just didn't rank their classes in the top 5. So we almost have to evaluate our, mistakes. And quite frankly, maybe we had some of those Michigan players ranked higher than our peers in the industry, but we didn't have them all ranked high enough. Because Michigan's going to have an outstanding NFL draft coming up. They did a good job in the draft under Coach Harbaugh, and they did it in a way where they did land some blue chippers and they did land some front end talent. But a lot of players that they landed were great evaluation wins.
Right.
And then they put them in their program and they had elite strength and conditioning, absolutely elite.
Okay.
They had some of the best coordinators in college football. So they schemed these guys into the right positions to make plays. They rode with Harbaugh during tough times, the COVID season in particular. There were local media and fans that were ready to be done with the Harbaugh era, despite the fact that this is a man that went to a Super Bowl, went to NFC title games, had Michigan had some really good years. Their only offense was that they didn't beat Ohio State in the last game of the regular season. So Michigan rode that out, and they Harbaugh had to make some tough decisions with his strength staff and some of his assistant coaches, firing Don Brown and getting Mike McDonald in there, who's now the head coach of the Seahawks, and then getting Jesse Minter in there, who's now his defensive coordinator for the Chargers, but he's going to be an NFL head coach probably in 2-3 years. And Sharon Moore is offensive coordinator, is now the head coach at Michigan. So put together a great staff, schemed it up correctly, built a great culture. And you know what? Matt Rhule, that's his track record, right? Now, he hasn't done it on the stage like Nebraska, but he's the best football coach in Temple history. They won conference championship. Then he goes down to Baylor. Baylor is in the gutter with what he had to inherit as a football program and turn them into a conference contender in the Big 12. And now he's at Nebraska, where they have a lot more resources. They have this passionate a fan base as there is in the country. You talk about my background covering Notre Dame. I was inside Notre Dame Stadium in September of 2000 when Nebraska took that stadium over with your Heisman candidate quarterback. And that was a hell of a football game. Notre Dame battled that day, but Nebraska got a good road win. And I think you guys played for all the marbles that year. So we're not like far removed from Nebraska. Nebraska, even in the BCS era, played in some of the biggest games, but it's not going to be easy. But that's the recipe, right, to ultimately win it all, is great strength coach hires, great coordinators, bring in the right-minded guys that fit your culture, high upside guys to develop. They did that at Michigan. We know Coach Rhule has a track record of developing high upside athletes, guys that can run, guys with length, guys with position versatility, and they find a spot and they scheme them into the right places. And then you have a head coach that's uber confident in who he is. Sometimes these head coaches they don't have the command or the control or the fortitude to run a program. We've seen Matt Rhule win everywhere he's been on the college level. Nebraska's, it's so sad. You guys haven't won a close game in like 4 years.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us.
So that's the first thing that needs to change, right? Just learning how to win.
Yep.
Finish games.
Yep.
Like the first game of the year this year was a microcosm of the era previously. Like that Minnesota game, you guys were the better football team that just didn't win the game because of your own miscues. So to fix a culture like that, it takes time. But the right guy is in here. And I'm excited about Nebraska moving forward. And I think that they can win at a high level. And first, you just look at like what Missouri's done or what Luke Fickell did at Cincinnati. That team was not fraudulent. All right. That team wasn't a product of their weak schedule. And they got into the college football playoff. The year before, they took that Georgia team to the wire in a New Year's Six game, and Georgia played all their guys. And that Georgia team the next year wins the national championship. That was a great bowl game. Cincinnati comes back the next year and beats Notre Dame in South Bend, makes the college football playoff, plays a pretty good game against a good Alabama team. And then 9 players get drafted from that team specifically, including their quarterback, and guys get drafted. That was a hell of a recruited and developed team under Luke Fickell. So there are recent recipes that you can point to and say that's Nebraska's formula right there. Player evaluation, development, scheme them into the right spots. It's just going to take some time. And first things first for Nebraska is just learning how to win, because so many just tragic close losses, and none of those games have gone your way. Like zero. It's so weird.
Yeah. And Steve, you didn't mention the words Dylan Raiola, but he's a big name, obviously, out in these parts. You had Dylan Raiola when you were at 24/7, pretty much a wire-to-wire 5-star in the rankings. I know On3 for the most part did until the very end, and that was some pretty good fodder around here that On3 dropped him to a high 4. But early reports on Dylan Raiola have been strong here in practice. I mean, what did you like about Dylan Raiola as a quarterback to have him rated really the number 1 guy almost for most of the year?
Well, first of all, On3 liked him a lot too. They just didn't have him as high as other services. So it always fascinates me when it's like so disrespectful. I mean, like what did On3 rank him? What was his final ranking?
I think he was in the top 100,
56, I think.
Yeah, he was like they had ended up having Carter Nelson, I believe.
Right. So second round. Oh, so they like him. It's like, it's kind of funny. Like you'll get a call. What is someone doing wrong to have him ranked here compared to others? It's like, well, I can't say anything bad. We have him in the back of the first round, or we have him in the second round. We like him a lot, So, but anyway, Dylan Raiola, in my opinion, has a lot of arm talent. He's a big physical kid that navigates the pocket well, that can make explosive throws downfield. I think that he's got some creativity to his game, and I think he works hard and obviously has a lot of pedigree to him. Big pickup for Nebraska for a number of reasons. It was fun covering that one down the stretch with the crystal ball flip and the visit, and then just the anticipation, right, of when's this thing going to happen? And then even there was some doubt out there. Is this really going to happen? Even though we all knew behind the scenes it was going to happen, you're just kind of waiting for it to go, and then bam, he's in. And look, it's a lot of oftentimes, man, it's not a good thing if you're starting an 18-year-old on your football team, unless you got a veteran offensive line and some veterans around him that can help him along. But I have all the faith in the world in Coach Matt Rhule, in what he's building, that if Dylan Raiola is QB1 right away, that he'll have they'll put him in position to be successful. But you look at a lot of these quarterbacks that get drafted high right now, very rare are they day one starters. I mean, like Trevor Lawrence had a guy by the name of Kelly Bryant, who my kids don't know who Kelly Bryant is, like they're, but he wasn't asked to come in right away day one and do the thing. Caleb Williams had to beat out Spencer Rattler, and the list goes. CJ Stroud had to wait his turn. Bryce Young didn't start as a
Joe Burrow.
Freshman. Joe Burrow obviously had to wait it out. So it's not ideal, but maybe he can have a Phillip Rivers type run, for Nebraska, where you are that guy right away. But he's talented. I think he's a good teammate, and it's an exciting era to get him in there, and we'll see what happens.
Well, Steve, appreciate you taking the time to come on. And by the way, we've had a delete for years. Fong bomb. Now we can keep the Fong bomb posts on my message board. So that was probably one of the more exciting.
You guys used to delete them?
Well, we kind of let them. Well, we kind of let them go.
That's okay. It's okay. Hey, I think that the Nebraska Nation created that nickname. I really do.
I think you might be right though, because it would just be Fong. Right. All the time. I wouldn't say we deleted them, but if there was a link or something, we had to take it down. But now you're on our team now, so this is.
I look forward to making more of those predictions and building up the moments for these kids, because I think when these predictions go in, it just gets the fan base. They start to rally and gather around, and they're waiting. And if they're waiting too long, then all of a sudden it's like, are we at the right place? Did we come too early? But I'm just saying, this is fun. You guys have a great site. Nebraska recruiting is exciting. Anytime they're about to get a commitment and you turn on the film, you're like, I can see it. This is a young man that he's got a lot of potential. He can run, or he's got length, or he's very productive on Fridays. They got a plan. And this staff, they're not afraid to be first. If they're convicted on a guy, they don't give a damn who else is in the mix. They trust their judgment, they trust their process, they trust their protocols, and so I nothing but respect for it, and excited to see how it comes together. It's not going to be easy in the Big Ten, but it's not easy in the SEC. And Missouri just went out there and finished second in the league, and a top 10 program. So I think that's a good model and a place to just kind of be like, all right, that's where we begin. How do we do that?